Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about the book of Madness of Crowd, Gender, Race and Identity. This is the content that we will see throughout the video with two important parts as the introduction and conclusion of this book. So the main objective is to analyze the journalist's perspective about topics as gender, race and identity and the implications of these topics in social relationships. We are going to start with the next quote that is, the special mark of the modern world is not that it is skeptical, but that it is dogmatic without knowing it, by G.K. Chesterton. These quotes means that the modern world thinks that it's free from dogma, but it's actually full of dogma that it is not aware of. Crowds, Gender, Race, and Identity by Douglas Murray is a book that explores the challenges of navigating contemporary debates on gender, race, and identity politics. In the introduction, Murray sets the stage by addressing the current societal landscape characterized by intense debates and conflicts surrounding these issues. He observes that these discussions often unfold in a charged atmosphere where differing opinions can lead to social ostracization or being labeled as intolerant. The new ideology. This ideology, according to Murray, is a set of interrelated beliefs that have become increasingly dominant in Western societies in recent years. These beliefs include a strong focus on social justice and identity politics. The new ideology emphasized the importance of addressing the grievances of marginalized groups such as women, racial minorities, and LGBTQ individuals. It also promotes the view that these groups are inherently oppressed by the majority. I believe in the importance of sensitivity and accommodations. The new ideology encouraged people to be sensitive to the feelings of others and to avoid saying or doing anything that could be perceived as offensive. It also supports the idea that certain groups should be given special accommodations or privilege to compensate for their past oppression. A rejection of traditional values and institutions. The new ideology challenges many of the values and institutions that have traditionally been held in high esteem in Western society, such as free speech, individual responsibility, and meritocracy. It often portrays these values and institutions as being inherently racist, sexist, or homophobic. The paradoxical nature of the modern era, where advancements in equality and tolerance have coincided with increased polarization and division. The authors highlights how certain approaches within contemporary movements aspiring for equality and justice have resulted in unforeseen consequences, including stifling open dialogue through backlash. Backlash refers to a strong negative reaction or response against a particular idea, action, movement, or individual. It usually occurs in response to a change or perceived threat against established norms, beliefs, or systems. And that fostering a culture of victimhood. Victimhood culture refers to a society in which people compete for social status by claiming to be victims of oppression or discrimination. The author believes that victimhood culture will tear us apart and prevent us from having honest and rational discussions about the issues that matter. Social media. Online discussions about equality and social justice can often devolve into polarized echo chambers. Users who express dissenting opinions on these issues might face severe backlash, including cyberbullying or being cancelled, where their views are publicly denounced and their reputation is tarnished, discouraging open discourse. Identity politics. Murray critiques aspects of identity politics that emphasize victimhood. While acknowledging the importance of addressing historical injustice, he argues that framing entire groups solely as victims can limit individual agency and perpetuate a narrative of perpetual victimization, hindering progress towards genuine equality. Cancel culture. The rise of cancel culture involves publicly shaming or boycotting individuals or organizations deemed to have violated social norms or expressed unpopular opinions. While it aims to hold people accountable for their actions or words, it can also discourage nuanced discussions and deter individuals from expressing diverse viewpoints for fear of persecution.
Douglas Murray critiques the dogmatic adherence to specific ideologies, emphasizing the importance of rational discourse and critical thinking. For instance, Murray explores the debates around gender identity, where he observes that some movements advocating for gender inclusivity have adopted an absolutist stance by promoting an ideology that demands unquestioning acceptance. In terms of politics, the author delves into identity politics, highlighting instances where the focus on group identity overshadows individual experiences and perspective. In race relations, Murray discusses race related discussions and how certain ideologies focus on broad generalizations rather than acknowledging the diversity of experience within racial groups. The journalist extensively examines how identity politics and ideological movement have impacted diverse spheres of society. For example, in media and journalism, Murray critiques instances where media outlets prioritize narratives over objective reporting, potentially distorting information or framing histories to fit specific ideological perspectives. In politics, the author concerns about how identity based ideologies can polarize societies and hinder the development of inclusive policies by prioritizing group interests over broader societal needs. In everyday interactions, the author delves into how identity politics influences everyday interactions, affecting language, social norms, and personal relationships.
Derange. The use of the word derange suggests that these claims can be disorienting or mentally disturbing to those who have to listen to them or try to make sense of them. For instance, the author does suggest that some claims made in the trans debate, such as the claim that someone can see into another person's soul and recognize their gender, are derange claims that don't make sense and can cause confusion. Murray also suggests that the use of identity categories as weapons to silence and discredit people is a problematic aspect of identity politics. Impossibility. Murray discusses the challenges that arise when attempting to address issues related to social justice and identity politics. The author notes that there are many impossibility problems that arise when trying to address these issues, such as the demand that women have the right to be sexy without being sexualized, or the idea that to oppose racism, one must become a bit racist. The journalist points out that there are many challenges that arise when trying to address issues related to social justice and identity politics, and that finding solutions that satisfy everyone is often difficult or impossible. Victim groups. The writer explains the idea that not all individuals or groups are oppressed, and that some may even be advantaged. Western society is dominated by an ideology called the New Ideology, which holds that certain groups, notably women, racial minorities, and LGBTQ, suffer widespread discrimination, and oppression, and that they should therefore receive sensitivity, accommodations, and apologetic behaviors from the social majority. The important discussions. The journalists analyze the challenge of having open and honest discussions about issues related to social justice and identity politics. The author notes that many people are afraid to speak out on these issues for fear of being labeled as racist, sexist, or otherwise oppressive. He suggests that this fear can lead to a lack of meaningful dialogue and can prevent us from addressing the root causes of these issues. Overall, he mentions that having open and honest discussions about issues related to social justice and identity politics is crucial for making progress on these issues, but that this can be challenging due to fear and other factors.
To much of the movement. The author suggests that this substructure is characterized by willingness to rush towards contradiction and a hostile tone of judge, juror, and executioner. The author argues that this approach is not conducive to finding solutions that satisfy everyone and may even be counterproductive. He suggests that it is important to have an open and honest discussion about these issues and to be willing to listen to different perspectives. Douglas Murray not only highlights all these issues, but offers possible solutions to challenges posed by the social justice movement. The author notes that many people have developed clever ways to navigate the current of the times and suggests that there are options open to people. The author also discusses the behavior of a type of cuttlefish that hides its intentions and suggests that this may be a useful metaphor for navigating the complexities of social justice issues. The writer points out that it is important to search for solutions and to be open to different perspectives in order to make progress on these issues. For example, the author argues that when people attempt to sum up our societies today as monstrous, racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic patriarchies, it is important to ask the question compared to what? He argues that asking compared to what can help to bring more clarity and understanding to these complex issues and emphasizes the importance of asking critical questions and seeking a more nuanced understanding of societal issues. Besides that, the journalist states that the social justice movement has made a mistaken judgment in assuming that oppressed people are inherently better than others. This belief is rooted in the idea that victimhood is something to be sought after or celebrated rather than something to be overcome. Douglas explains that being a victim does not automatically make someone right or deserving of praise, and that it's possible for someone to claim victimhood without actually being a victim. Finally, the author argues that we need to find a way to get along together, as violence is the only tool left if we have come to the conclusion that talking and listening respectfully are futile. Overall, the journalist emphasizes the importance of personal interaction and finding ways to get along with others, even those with whom we may disagree. Besides that, Murray examines that it is important to know where we may be going and to work together, recognizing the dangers of divisive rhetoric and working towards finding common ground. At the end, Douglas argues that the aim of identity politics is to politicize absolutely everything and turn every aspect of human interaction into matter politics. The author argues that finding purpose in politics is disastrous, as it laces politics with a passion, including a rage that perverts the whole enterprise. He explains that while politics may be an important aspect of our lives, it should not be relied on as a source of personal meaning. Instead, One of the ways to distance ourselves from the madness of our times is to retain an interest in politics but not to rely on it as a source of meaning.